Let's get straight to the point. If you have the money to spend and want the best sound quality, I'm gonna tell you to go with the Audeze Maxwell 2. It's like having a home theater strapped to your head, and nothing sounds as good when it comes to gaming headsets. But there's more to picking out the best one for yourself, right? The SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro Omni has a much wider range of features that turns a gaming headset into an all-in-one audio setup for every device you have. Then again, not everyone has the money to blow on these state-of-the-art headsets, and well, that's what the rest of this video is for. We're gonna go from budget to best for my ultimate guide to gaming headsets. I've been reviewing gaming headsets for nearly a decade at various sites, including my time here at IGN. And for this guide specifically, I put over 20 headsets against each other and divided my recommendations into price tiers: under 100, under 200, and 300 plus for the real high-end stuff. In addition to my individual reviews of these headsets, I used each for about 10 hours in total for this guide in particular. I measured sound quality, specifically clarity across all frequencies, lows, mids, and highs, detail and positional audio, and how it handles busy soundscapes. My 4 consistent tests were in Counter-Strike 2, Final Fantasy XIV, The Last of Us Part 2, and lossless music through Spotify Premium. Comfort was also a big factor, of course, and I judged them on how comfortable they are for sessions of 4 to 5 hours. And I accounted for qualities like microphone clarity, battery life, build quality, software support, and any other additional features worth considering. It's been a long road, but I got there. So let's start with my budget pick. It's a bit of a crapshoot when looking for something good below the $100 price point, so I'm thrilled to find anything I could recommend with few caveats, and the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 1 came out on top. It's a wired headset, which limits some of its versatility seen in other SteelSeries high-end offerings, but it nails the necessities better than anything else: bass sound quality, long-term comfort, and strong build quality. The Arctis Nova 1 showed me that affordability doesn't mean you have to sacrifice sound quality. Being someone who's picky about their audio gear, I never felt like I was settling for a lesser experience during my testing period. I was able to pick up on all the important sound cues during my ranked matches in Counter-Strike 2, which impressed me as I don't necessarily expect positional audio to be a prominent feature of a budget-level headset. Final Fantasy XIV being my stress test for how headsets sift through a chaotic soundscape, I was surprised to hear all the sound effects not get crunched in the process. Of course, it's not quite as elegant as the more sophisticated headsets I'll recommend later on, and I didn't expect it to blow me away with its bass, but I got the clarity I needed to identify certain sound effects and enjoy the music at the same time, since they didn't blend into this cacophony of noise. The Arctis Nova 1 rocks the same core design as its high-end counterparts, and you'll notice every headset in the SteelSeries Arctis lineup is built similarly, and while the Nova 1 isn't packed with all the fancy technical features of, say, the Nova Pro Omni, trimming it down results in a nimble 236 grams in weight. Build quality is excellent despite its budget price. The headband is sturdy and flexible, and the earpads are soft and bouncy. It might be cheaper on the price tag, but I can attest to it not being cheaply made, as I rocked it for the long testing periods in my Nova 1 review and on the side-by-side comparisons throughout this guide. I love that the sports mesh kept me cool, and while it's a bit tighter on the clamp force, the padding kept me going for these long 5-hour sessions. The SteelSeries Arctis Nova 1 can't be beat for its price. While it retails for $60, you can often find it under $50, and if you need to go wireless, you can find its cousin in the Arctis Nova 3 for under $100 as well. What I love about the Razer Blackshark V3 is that it doesn't trim out much from the higher-end, more expensive V3 Pro. I can attest to it nailing down those 3 important qualities of a proper gaming headset: a competitive sound profile, long-term comfort, and solid build quality. It's an all-rounder that I happily used as my daily driver during my test periods, and it epitomizes the idea of paying less for something that resembles a premium product. Spatial audio on the Blackshark V3 is fantastic. Razer has positioned the Blackshark lineup as the one that leans towards competitive gaming, as opposed to, say, the Kraken, which is more of a luxury style product. And the Blackshark V3 is exactly what you'd want from a headset when sound cues can determine winning and losing. In my ranked matches in Counter-Strike 2, I was always able to pick up on footsteps accurately in terms of direction and distance. On several occasions, hearing the reload action of an enemy around the corner tipped me off to peek and get the jump on them. These little details do matter, and it proved to me that the Blackshark V3 is more capable than other headsets in its price tier. It can produce punchy cinematic audio too. The 50mm titanium Triforce audio drivers may not be quite as fancy as the biocellulose drivers of the V3 Pro, but by no means does that hold back the base model from pumping out booming audio. The Black Shark V3 has a generally neutral sound profile and tuning, but with a little tweaking with the EQ settings, I was able to get impactful and clear sound for more cinematic types of experiences. So when it comes to software, Razer Synapse takes some effort to get around, but I love the level of control it gives you over its sound profile. Even though I'm not big on virtual surround because of how it can sound artificial at times, its THX spatial capabilities are strong since it sounded more full rather than it being this empty concert hall feeling that you get from lesser headsets. This stood out most in The Last of Us Part 2, where the opening cutscenes I replayed for every headset test had more audible depth, and it's impressive for a headset at this price point. Despite being the middle tier option in the lineup, the Black Shark V3 is still built like a high-end headset. The fancy stitched leather headband and woven sports mesh wrapping of the V3 Pro are nice, but again, Razer didn't skimp out on the base model here. The plushy leatherette ear pads sunk around my ears nicely, creating a solid seal, and it was comfortable to wear for those long 5-hour sessions I was talking about. One perk it actually has over the V3 Pro is that it's lighter, and that 270-gram weight let it rest easily on my head. It doesn't feel cheap because it's still built with the same core design with an aluminum frame and flexible wireframe forks with the ear cups. For $150, the Razer Black Shark V3 has so much to offer, and it has the edge over other mid-range headsets. Even after my review of the Beyerdynamic MMX 330 Pro, I've kept it in my rotation for my desktop PC, partially because it's convenient to always have a wired headset at the ready, but also because it's damn near the perfect gaming headset. Beyerdynamic isn't exactly a gaming brand and has a long history of audio gear aimed at the high-end users and studio professionals, so adopting many of its design principles for the MMX Pro lineup paved the way for one of the best gaming headsets I've ever used. A studio-grade analog headset has the highest potential in terms of sound quality. You can get more out of the MMX Pros by driving it through an amp or a DAC, especially if you're a bass-heavy listener. But even through standard 3.5mm input, it has the kind of clarity and detail in the Sennheiser headphones I've used for years leading up to this point. For example, spatial audio comes through beautifully with a deft touch, and distant sound cues are distinguishable, which you need for the competitive scene. And that's the kind of advantage you should expect from a high-end headset, and this is further emphasized in the MMX 330 Pro, which sports an open back design. If you prefer having closed back design, the MMX 300 Pro is identical in every other respect. Focusing in on the MMX 330 Pro, rarely do you see an open back gaming headset because while you sacrifice noise isolation, it gives the audio more room to breathe. It's closer to having a proper speaker setup than traditional closed headset designs, which helps with spatial audio cues, and the overall sound experience feels a little less like having audio shot directly into your ear. You can think of it as a more realistic sound setup, and this works wonders for the prestige style of single-player games, as well as the busy-sounding ones like a Final Fantasy XIV. The MMX 330 Pro is able to cut through the noise and deliver clarity and detail lesser headsets and headphones are just not capable of. While the microphones on the previous headsets I recommended are fine for communicating over games and Discord, the MMX 300 Pro and 330 Pro are the closest you'll get to the clarity of a standalone mic on a headset. And to boot, the microphone is so good that I sometimes just use it when I'm on stream instead of switching over to my external high-end microphone. Outside of recording voiceover work or podcasting, the quality is nearly indistinguishable, and that's almost unheard of for gaming headsets. It's an advantage of going with a wired analog headset as I don't get the digitization effect in my voice. The only real but very minor drawback of the MMX Pro series is that the mic is not detachable and can't be tucked away neatly. It's just always sticking out, which isn't ideal. Lastly, I need to mention that these are super comfortable with its dense ear pads wrapped in a cozy velour, which is my favorite style for headsets. And it has a super flexible and durable aluminum frame and keeps clamp force to a minimum while staying in place on my head. And I could wear these for well past the 5-hour mark. Because of various real-world factors, the MMX Pro series has fluctuated from its initial $300 price point, and if you could find it around that, it's worth the investment. It's tough to pick a favorite at the very high end, but if I had to put one feature above anything else, it is sound quality, and Audeze is unmatched in this department. After using the original Maxwell as my go-to on PS5 for the better part of a year before moving on to the Maxwell 2, it's hard to go back to other wireless headsets. No one does sound quality like Audeze, and the Maxwell 2 is a prime example. The 90mm planar magnetic drivers stand out, and although bigger drivers don't always mean better sound, Audeze made great use of their capabilities. Yes, the Maxwell 2 has fantastic sound quality in a tier of its own, with clarity and detail in all testing scenarios, but it has a distinguishable spaciousness to its audio profile that other headsets don't have. This also translates to more room for the details of its positional audio to shine. Plucking out distance and direction of sound cues in Counter-Strike 2, again, is crucial to staying competitive, and the Maxwell 2 doesn't have to artificially boost the corresponding frequencies to help identify these effects in the heat of a ranked match, for example. While the Maxwell 2 sounds great out of the box, tweaking the frequencies a bit through the easy-to-use Audeze desktop app will help you get a lot more out of the low end. With a little bass boost, the Maxwell 2 really shines for prestige-style games and music. The Maxwell 2 outshines its contemporaries in battery life by a long shot too. Back when I reviewed the headset, I went through an entire week's worth of testing, roughly 40 hours of total use, and only at the end did it dip to about 40% battery left over from a full charge. That's likely the necessary trade-off for a hulking headset that weighs a whopping 560 grams, however. Don't get me wrong though, it's comfortable despite its weight. The Maxwell is on the heavier side, but that weight is balanced with enough clamp force to keep it in place, plushy ear pads that make sure it's comfortable to wear all day, and an extra wide headband on the top to keep the headset in place and alleviate the pressure from the top of your head. In my testing, I had them on for those long 5-hour sessions without a problem. Its $330 price tag might make you wince, but when it comes to audio gear on this level, the Maxwell 2 justifies its price. So if pure sound quality is your priority, I can't recommend it enough. For as much as I sing the praises of the Maxwell 2, it's not without its drawbacks. While that weight didn't bother me much during the testing period for review and this guide, it's something you might want to account for if you think it'd bother you. That also makes it a bit unwieldy and less nimble than most other options. For that, I would just as quickly recommend the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro Omni. Unironically, the star of the show is the base station that it comes with because it offers unparalleled versatility. It has line-in and line-out ports for external audio devices, as well as 3 USB ports that let me connect all of my systems, including Xbox, and swap between them without having to unplug or move cables around, and it has true simultaneous Bluetooth. It has a unique swappable battery system that creates this infinite loop of battery life. You never have to plug in the headset, and for me, that's a convenience that puts it above many others. One battery charges in the base station, while the other is being used in your headset, and you can hot swap between them in less than 10 seconds without needing to power the headset back on. While its sound profile isn't quite as robust as the Maxwell 2, it's no slouch for competitive gaming, cinematic experiences, and music by pushing its drivers to their limits with high-res 96 kHz and 24-bit audio. It has strong detailed positional audio for Counter-Strike 2, cuts through the noise for Final Fantasy XIV, and can really deliver on cinematic-style games if you tweak its EQ settings. The SteelSeries Sonar app also lets you mess with hundreds of pre-made profiles and even configure how virtual surround works. I haven't seen an app as sophisticated yet easy to use as what SteelSeries has here. I know $400 is a lot to ask, but if you want the most versatile gaming headset that can be an all-in-one audio solution, the Nova Pro Omni is my pick. That's my journey through gaming headsets in 2026, and you can check out the full guide on IGN.com for more details on these headsets and others worth considering. You can check out my full standalone reviews of the Audeze Maxwell 2 and the Arctis Nova Pro Omni. And for everything else in the world of tech and games, stick with IGN.